Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my @Ignister Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for August 2022. I've been wanting to update the @Ignister deck for a good while now. I've been updating Marine Cess, Salmon Greats, and even just the generic Cyberse deck pretty regularly, so I figured I'd update the @Ignister deck as well. For those of you who don't know, this is the deck that I used in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrain series, kind of comprising a Season 3 antagonist role, and all of the different monsters in this deck are all of his different AIs that were his brothers and sisters, basically, in the series, made into this deck. And the main point of the deck is to get out the big boss monster, the Arrival @Ignister. It's a pretty consistent deck. I would definitely say it's one of the better Cyberse decks as well for its overall playstyle. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. I run 3 Picari @Ignister. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And then you can target 1 @Ignister monster you control, and its level becomes 4 until the end of this turn. So you have the option of giving you 2 level 4 monsters to go into your rank 4 Light Dragon @Ignister. But the main play here is your spell and trap card search with this card. Very, very useful just to grab another spell that you can use for your search, and then just go into your Link 1 Dark Infant @Ignister to then get your field spell search as well. I also run 3 Achichi @Ignister. If it's normal or special summon, you can add 1 level 4 or lower @Ignister monster from your deck to your hand, except for Achichi. And at the start of damage step, when your Cyberse monster battles, you can banish this card from your graveyard to destroy that monster and that you control. It's really not used much since we don't run the Phoenix in the deck. You mostly just use this for the monster search, and then being able to once again go into the Link 1 play while having that additional monster ready to special summon out with your Ignister Island. And then the last of the 3 ofs that I run for the @Ignisters are 3 Doyon @Ignister. If this card's normal or special summon, you can target 1 @Ignister monster in your graveyard and add to your hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a Link summon of a Cyberse monster, you can target 1 spell or trap in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. So the recycle power is really, really strong with Doyon, just being able to add back monsters for you to resummon as well. What's great with this card is if you do special summon it out, let's say you normal summoned Achichi, you can at least add back the Achichi off of the Doyon and then special summon that card off of the Ignister Island. You won't be able to get the search again, but you'll at least have that search, that special summon available to you since you didn't do it initially with the field spell. And then for the 1-ofs for the @Ignister monsters, I run 1 Bururu. This is your tuner. It's also searchable with your play when you go into your Cyberse Wit Kid, and then you special something in one of the Link Arrow spots to then get this card to your hand. Also 1 Hiyari @Ignister for another special summon, being a water attribute. Also helps very well with that play. And 1 Doshin @Ignister for the earth attribute. And then also 1 Gachiri. It's also an earth attribute, but once again, an easy special summon. And then lastly, the 1 Donmari @Ignister. This is in here also for effect negation of your opponent's cards while it's in the graveyard, while you control a Link 6 monster. And you don't really need 1-ofs for each of these. They're easily searchable with plenty of other options in the deck. And just more of the setup. If you were to go into a synchro play with Bururu, like with your Wind Pegasus, the rest are just here. So you have some different attribute monsters to then go into your bigger, the Arrival Cyberse @Ignister. And then for the rest of the monsters in the main deck, I also run 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring for being able to stop your opponent's searches and graveyard setup. And also I run 2 Effect Veiler and 1 Ghost Ogre. There is 1 spell that's a little pricey that I do run in the deck, but I would say definitely needed so you can resolve a good number of your @Ignister plays, which we'll get to when I go over the spells, which are right now, because those are the rest of the main deck monsters. For these spells, I am running 3 Ignister Island. If you control no monsters in your main monster zone, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower @Ignister monster from your hand. But for the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon monsters with the same original attribute by the effect of Ignister Island. Also, you cannot special summon monsters except for Cyberse monsters, even if this card leaves the field. So you have a recycle power along with this card as well, being able to special summon all the different attribute monsters to the field. As long as you have that 1 initial play, you can search out this island. The more monsters you have, the better, as long as you clear out the main monster zone, which is also very easy to do with some of even our big boss monsters that we run, like Dark Templar @Ignister, then being able to just special summon a bunch of more monsters back onto the field, and it's your main go-to play for setting up the Arrival on the field. For more search power, I also run 3 I Meet You. You reveal 1 Cybers monster with 2300 attack in your hand or extra deck, and add 1 Ignister monster with the same attribute from your deck to your hand. And during the end phase of this turn, take 2300 damage if you do not special summon the revealed monster or a monster with the same name after you resolve this effect. Which may not happen always, but you still have a pretty awesome search. And what's great with one of the newest cards in the deck being the Decode Talker Heat Soul having 2300 attack, this can be the fire attribute search that you need to add Achichi at Ignister to your hand, since we aren't running the Phoenix Link monster in the deck for that search. There's just not enough room, I would say, in the extra deck for it. For some more special summoning plays, I also run 2 Idol Reborn. You target 1 Ignister monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon any monsters for the rest of the turn after this effect resolves, except for Cybers monsters. And when an attack is declared involving 2 monsters, you can banish this card from your graveyard and add 1 card from your hand. Target 1 of your eye spell or traps that is banished in your graveyard, except for Idol Reborn, and return it to your hand. You mostly just use it for the special summon power, but still a very good 2 of. The other 1 of that I run is 1 Fighting Spirit. You target 1 Ignister monster in your graveyard, special summon it. If it is an Ignister monster you control with 2300 more attack, would be destroyed by battle or card effect, being able to banish this card from your graveyard instead as a more protection play. And if this card is banished, you can activate this effect. Your Ignister monster with 2300 more attack cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. So a pretty good resolve for some of these stronger ones you'll run in the deck. So you have both of these special summon options, and both being search targets if need be off of your Picari at Ignister. For more search power, I also run 3 Signet Mining. Not only can you set up some of the Ignister monsters to then be recycled back to your hand with cards like Doyon off of the search, then getting one of your initial search monsters off of the Signet Mining search. That graveyard setup will definitely help just with more special summoning plays. And I also run 1 Foolish Burial and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster. The Harpy's Feather Duster, especially if you go second and your opponent sets up some sort of back row, if they disrupt that 1 initial play, then it's the biggest weakness of the deck. That's what you need the Harpy's Feather Duster for. And the next card, which I am running 3 Crossout Designator. Now, Ash Blossom, Effect Veiler, Ghost Ogre, you all name it, can stop this deck right in its tracks, whether you don't get the search you need off of this 1 card, or even the special summon off of your Dark Templar, and then you're just stuck with this card on the field. Having the Crossout Designator at least gives you the option to stop whatever hand trap your opponent may try to use against you, Ash Blossom, Effect Veiler, Ghost Ogre, with this card. If you don't have the Crossout Designator, you can put in cards like World Legacy Succession, Monster Reborn, anything that has more of a special summon play. So if they do disrupt the Dark Templar play, you at least have something to make up for that with another additional special summon on the field. So then you can use the Dark Templar and that 1 additional monster to then go into at least something stronger from your extra deck. But you won't have the Arrival play, but at least it'll be something. And then for the rest of the cards in the main deck, as for the trap, just 3 Infinite Impermanence, being a 1 to stop your opponent if they go first and try to set up a monster effect on the field, just like with your Effect Veiler and your Ash Blossom. And it's also another viable target off of the Crossout Designator. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. For the Link monsters, I run 2 Dark Infant at Ignister. It needs 1 non-Link at Ignister monster. If this card is Link summoned, you can add 1 Ignister Island from your deck to your hand. And when a Cybers monster with 2300 original attack activates its effect, quick effect, you can move this card to a zone in your main monster zone, and this card points to. Then you can change it to any attribute until the end of this turn. So it works pretty well with the Dark Templar play, being able to have it already on the field. Just remember that, because Dark Templar for its special summons level 4 or lower, adding Ignister monsters. Just being able to change the attribute of Infant gives you an additional play to then have 1 additional monster for the attack boost for your Arrival. I also run 1 Lingery Bone to stop traps that your opponent may have, and also 1 Link Spider. Nibiru is another weakness of this deck, so as long as you have a way to get the token out of your main monster zone and have a monster in your extra monster zone and clear out the field, you could still have plays to continue with your Ignister Island, being able to have another special summon onto the field to use. For the boss monster, I am running the 1 copy of the Arrival Cybers at Ignister. You only need 1 copy. If you get this card out, it's definitely very difficult for your opponent to get over. For the play of just being unaffected by all their cards and gaining additional attack thanks to all the different attribute monsters you use in the deck. I also run 1 Dark Templar at Ignister. This is the go-to card to set up for the Arrival. When a monster is special summoned summon to a zone this card points to, even during the damage step. You can special summon as many level 4 or lower Ad-Ignister monsters from your graveyard as possible to the zones this card points to, but their effects are negated. So the main special play will revolve and resolve around your Idol Reborn, targeting an Ad-Ignister monster in your graveyard and special summoning it to the zone. So you can summon the Dark Infant to the zone it points to, activating the Dark Templar to then activate and resolve with your Dark Infant. For the special summon, when a Cyberse monster with 2300 original attack activates effects, be able to move this card to a main monster zone this card points to. So you'll place it here off of the special summon and move it out of the way to then be able to special summon more cards off of the Dark Templar. And I also run 2 Splash Mage for more special summoning from the graveyard. This can initially also save you from another play just by getting you another resource back on the field to use. 1 Cyber Kid for the search of your Bururu, the tuner monster. I also run 2 Transcode Talker. If you want to run Brute Enforcer as a way to destroy cards in your opponent's field, you can take out 1 Transcode. I just like the recovery option this card has because you could potentially just get another monster onto the field and then also have some answers to go into Transcode Talker, with the last searches being the Decode Talker Heat Soul and the 1 Access Code Talker. The Heat Soul, especially for the Achichi search off of the I Meet You, and also having the Earth search with your Transcode Talker. And then the last ones being the Light Dragon Ad-Ignister and the Wind Pegasus Ad-Ignister for the 2300 search for both I Meet You, and you do have the option sometimes to go into them and make up for some of the special summon and destruction plays that Wind Pegasus can do. As for some of the go-to plays in the deck, a lot of them can revolve. If you just open up your Achichi or your Picari, you have a pretty good play to go off of just this 1 card alone. Depending on which one you search, like let's say you summon out your Achichi, getting that initial search, you can then search out the other monster off of it, which can be a Picari. You then go for the Link 1 play with your Achichi to go into your Dark Infant at Ignister. And if any of the searches, if nothing disrupts it, you search out the Ignister Island, activating Island. Your monster zone is free, and then with that you can special summon the Picari you searched off of your Achichi. Then Picari will activate, letting you add the Idol Reborn to your hand. Then you can go for the additional Link 2, which then you will use to go in to the Splash Mage search. Having that special summon, you then have the initial search for 1 more monster on the field, thanks to that Link 2 play that you can go into with this card. If you don't have that, or if you want to go for another special summon search, you can even go into the Cyber Swit Kid, with that being your play, and then having your another special summon. You can then activate your Idol Reborn to special summon back the Dark Infant at Ignister. That will then activate the Cyber Swit Kid, which will then allow you to add to your hand your Bururu monster, which then is your go-to tuner as well with that search. Adding that to your hand, and also then giving you the additional play with your 2 monsters on the field, being your Cyber's Wit Kid with the Link Summon option to special summon, and giving you that monster, and banishing a Cyber's monster to add the tuner from your deck to your hand, so you'll banish that other Ad-Ignister monster in your graveyard that you wish to use. For that, giving you the special summon off of the Idol Reborn. Then you will then go for the additional Link 2 play to go into your Splash Mage, giving you the other search to target a Cyberse monster in your graveyard, summoning out the other one onto the field, thanks to this card. You can then use the Link 3 option to go into your Transcode Talker, which you can also have off of the other play, using the Transcode Talker to, before you activate Transcode, you'll special summon out the Bururu, since your main monster zone is free, activating the Bururu to send 1 Ad-Ignister monster from your deck to the graveyard, which you'll just want a different attribute, so you can send the Doyon off of that play to the graveyard. Having then the monsters needed, you'll activate Transcode Talker, having the special summon for your next monster, which you'll get from the graveyard, which could be your Cyber's Wit Kid, giving you the 3 monsters to then go into your Dark Templar on the field. And then from that, you just need the 1 additional monster for the search in your hand, which can also be made with each one of the searches and setups, even when you summon out your Bururu to the field. Having that send and setup, since it was used for that play, all you'll need is the 1 one additional monster in your hand to special summon out. If you didn't already have the special summon spell in your hand to use, once you special summon that card out, activating the Dark Templar, giving you the additional 2 different attribute monsters in your graveyard, which you do want to go for the Bootaroo, since you'll have already the Dark attribute monster being the Dark Templar on the field. Using those cards to then go into your big boss monster, which is the Arrival Cybers at Ignister. It all comes down to just if you have that one additional monster in your hand along with the initial search and what else you opened up for with that play. Having the special summon or even just the option for those cards for the search can be met pretty easily with cards like I Meet You, but you all have this initial startup thanks to just having one of the initial cards in your hand being Achichi or Picari. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy the video. I always love updating this deck. It's definitely one to consider if you're a fan of just some of the big link plays that Cybers are meant and known to do. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Twig out.